Hi, and welcome. My name is Lisa Wolf, and in the next few minutes, I'll share with you how App Factors can help your team deliver production-ready enterprise applications that you can trust and that you understand. So, how did we get here? How did we get to this moment where code being produced is just a black box? If we look back at the different software methodologies that we've been through, we lived through waterfall. Waterfall gave us control, but it also gave us long planning cycles. One thing it did produce was code that we fully understood. Then we all moved to Agile. Agile gave us speed, it gave us adaptability. It allowed us to work with software at every step, and it gave us the ability to change direction quickly without losing control. Then AI arrived. AI assisted coding reduced our effort significantly, but human developers were still in the loop. They reviewed, they understood, and they owned every line of output. But today, we have vibe coding, and this is where AI writes the entire feature set in just minutes. And that's incredible until something breaks in production. An auditor asks a question, a new engineer tries to understand the code base, and nobody can explain it. So, right now, many organizations are shipping code they don't fully understand, they didn't fully design, they can't explain or audit. And that's not a failure of AI, that's a failure of the process surrounding AI. These are quotes that we hear often. We talk to CTOs who say that they can't explain to their senior staff why their code keeps failing compliance. And that's due to architecture drift. That architecture drift is made visible at the board level. It's also exposing regulatory problems, code that shipped without audit trails, and now nobody can trace that back to the original intent. We also hear that every fix after the fact is costing 3 times what prevention could have cost. Engineering leaders know their teams are spending more time retrofitting governance than shipping features. And for these engineering leaders, the AI productivity boom, or the boom that was supposed to happen, is becoming a retrofit burden. Every team's AI agent is doing something different. There's no standard for what production ready looks like. And that's exactly why App Factors was created. We created the governed agentic software development lifecycle. And that governed agentic software development lifecycle, it's the standard software development lifecycle that you're already familiar with, but with AI agents involved at every stage and governance built in from the first step. So in a standard AI workflow, you give an AI coding agent your intent. You give that AI coding agent your intent in a simple prompt, and it generates code without any knowledge of your architecture, your compliance or security requirements, or your business context. In App Factor's governed agentic SDLC, your AI coding agent is grounded in your organization's architecture standards, compliance and security policies, and business intent before it writes a single line of code. And humans remain in the loop. They remain in the loop at every critical governance gate. And that's exactly what makes this AI output trustworthy in a production environment. The result is software that's not just fast, but it's also traceable. And it's production ready from line one. App Factors developed the architecture context engine. We call it ACE. And we developed ACE to address the governance gaps created by AI generated code. So AI coding agents start out, as I said earlier, knowing nothing about your enterprise context, and they have no way to ensure that that context gets passed along to other tools or other teams. And that results in compliance and handoff failures. With ACE's MCP bridge, that unifies your business requirements, your architecture decisions, and your compliance policies. And that unifies them and ensures that they are live context for every AI coding agent. Your AI coding agents get your full enterprise picture. They don't get fragments of your enterprise. And the code arrives at review already compliant with no late discovery and no rework. Without ACE, there's also ongoing architecture drift and retrofit costs. ACE fixes this. It fixes it by encoding your architecture standards as executable context before your AI coding agents write a line of code. The AI coding agent can't deviate from these mandated patterns, so there's no drift and there's no retrofit cost. There's a full audit lineage, which means regulatory exposure disappears. And before ACE, there were no guardrails or compliance. ACE moves governance from wikis and checklists directly into the generation pipeline. HIPAA, SOC 2, and PCI DSS are enforced at generation. They're verified at every pull request. The platform has real execution, enforcement, and not just and only documentation. The overall shift to ACE is moving from compliance as a painful retrofit to compliance as a structural guarantee built into every line from day one. And to make the results of using ACE concrete, there's a 40 to 60% reduction in AI rework cost. When governance is built in from step one, you stop paying the penalty for discovering problems late in the cycle. We can deliver a production grade MVP in just 7 days. A production grade starting point with your architecture, rules, compliance policies, and full traceability built in from day one. There's an 80% fewer compliance violations at pull requests because policy is enforced at generation and not discovered at audit. And there is 100% business to code lineage, every requirement, every architecture decision, every generated line is traceable back to the original business intent. These are platform results from AppFactor's ACE in production, not benchmarks from a lab. One of our customers, 27 Global, is a software and cloud engineering consultancy. They manage complex multi-client delivery portfolios, and before AppFactors, their AI-generated code lacked governance. It lacked compliance and traceability. With AppFactors ACE deployed across every client engagement, every delivery is now grounded in each client's business context, compliance requirements, and existing architecture, with approval workflows and full audit trails built into delivery from the start. And the results for 27 Global are that they now have 50% less rework per engagement, 4 times faster client go live, and 100% audit-ready deliverables. Their leadership said it clearly. Quote, with ACE, every client engagement now starts with governed architecture and ends with production-ready code, end quote. Now they're getting a repeatable, scalable standard, which is replacing their tribal knowledge with something auditable across every project they're working on. Another customer, one of our healthcare clients who are operating a medical lab platform under some of the strictest requirements in the industry. They have HIPAA compliance, multi-tenant data isolation, complex diagnostic workflows, and zero tolerance for errors in production as part of their overall environment. And AppFactors ACE grounded every AI-generated component in their clinical workflows, compliance rules, and data governance policies, delivering a complete application with full traceability from business intent to deployed code. Their product team put it this way, quote, AppFactors ACE didn't just accelerate our build, it gave us an application we could trust, end quote. The results here are 100% of the application built with AppFactors, 60% faster time to market, and HIPAA compliant by design and not by retrofit. And in the broader industry context, what AppFactors is building is also validated by Gartner. Gartner defined context engineering, and the way that they defined it is by designing and structuring the relevant data, workflows, and environment, so AI systems can understand intent, make better decisions, and deliver contextual enterprise-aligned outcomes without relying on manual prompts. So that's Gartner's definition. Gartner is explicit that context engineering is replacing prompt engineering as the foundation for scalable and trustworthy enterprise AI. Gartner says by 2028, 80% of AI software tools will embed context engineering features. And they note that agentic AI suffers high failure rates due to misalignment and poor coordination, and that context engineering is the direct solution because prompt engineering is simply not capable of addressing it. And many of you have lived this or are experiencing this. AppFactors calls this context is code, where compliance, security, and governance are encoded before the AI coding agent writes a line. And this is enforced at every step. We didn't build a feature to address the context engineering trend. We built the platform for it. And there's three questions you might be thinking about. The first one we hear often, and that is, I already have Claude Code, or I have Cursor, or Copilot, or other AI coding agents, and we say keep using those. AppFactor's not replacing your favorite AI coding agent. What we're doing is we're the governance layer. We're ensuring your AI coding agent generates what it's generating meets your architecture standards and your compliance requirements. It complements your existing tools. It doesn't compete with them. We also hear I already have a Vibe coding platform or another rapid prototyping tool. Keep those tools. Those tools are excellent at speed. AppFactors takes that same speed and it extends it all the way to production grade quality. The prototype you built in an afternoon can mature in compliant enterprise ready system in weeks without a rewrite. And third, we hear we don't use AI in production. AppFactors does not produce unreviewed code. There are human reviewers at every governance gate. Every output is traceable and audible, and nothing reaches production without sign off. We take that responsibility seriously. This context matters. McKinsey research shows 74% of organizations plan to adopt agentic AI within 2 years, but only 21% have a mature governance model in place. That's the gap that AppFactors closes. Let me close with a concrete offer because we'd rather show you than tell you. We have a 7-day sprint offer where we deliver a production grade MVP to your dev and test environment with full source code committed to your GitHub repository, deployment, artifacts, tests, and complete documentation. The guarantee is straightforward, 7 business days or zero charge. Whatever you invest in the sprint is fully credited toward your ACE subscription. The sprint follows a clear process: discovery on day 1, architecture and code generation on days 2 and 3, human in the loop review and iteration on days 4 and 5, security and compliance scorecard on day 6, and deployment with full handoff documentation on day 7. This is how we earn the relationship. We're not asking you to sign a long-term contract on faith. We're asking for 7 days to show you what governed, production-grade AI development looks like with your code, your stack, and your requirements. Spots are limited here, so please reach out to Jack Cushing directly if this resonates. That's jack@appfactors.com, or connect with him on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being here today, and good coding, and we'll see you next time. So long.